Well, hello there, my good YouTube people. It's Bridget back again from It's Your Time channel. And I thought that I would mix it up today and change our backdrop a bit. I'm in the backyard of my house, and I thought it appropriate because we're going to switch gears in this now, and we're going to talk to what it's like being and surviving as a registered nurse. I feel like, I've been sitting on a lot of information, a lot of experience. I've been telling everybody I've been a nurse for 34 years. And I don't know what hit me like the other day. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's 2026. So June of this year, it will be 36 years that I will have been a registered nurse and still am. Put my ID on here today just to kind of let you guys get a feel of the nursing, although we're in the backyard. And I've got my fatigue scrubs on because, nursing is the best thing that's happened to me. There's a lot of mixed feelings and mixed thoughts about nursing, but it has changed my life. God has used it to change my life. He gave me a gift that I didn't know I had. My mom saw that gift and told me to go to school for nursing. And it has served me well. It has served me well. And there've been some times that I look back on it now and I say, why do I feel so good about it? I mean, you had to pry me away from the bedside. I did not want to leave the bedside. I'm an ICU nurse, 30 of the 36 years. I did the first 6 years in a kind of ICU-ish setting, but I worked oncology/ICU. So there was an ICU in the back of the oncology unit. And so I was training for that and kind of moved back and forth from taking care of the patients on the oncology floor, where you would have 6 to 7 patients, to being in the back where the unit was, where the sickest of those patients would be. And then you would drop to a 1-to-2 ratio for those patients, bone marrow transplant, those types of things. So I've looked back and I say, a lot of people, they say, nursing, you guys, you work hard, and we do. It is probably one of the hardest jobs on the mind and the body that you can actually do. But if it's really your call, if you've been called to do it, or you have learned to do it in a way that is right, it is so fabulous. And I won't say that every nurse you run into is going to be the best. I've heard some stories, I've got family they've been in the hospital, or they've had, home health nurses, clinic nurses, all kinds of different experiences. And everyone's not going to be the best, but a good nurse is worth 10 times what he or she is paid, okay? Just because of all that goes into a day of caring for someone in a very intimate and very technical way. I would say that for me, there probably has not been a day that I said, I'm done with this. I'm finished. I'm out of here. I may have been tired. I may know that I need some rest, vacation, or just a sleep day, just, repair my body, a massage, something like that. But there is a connectiveness to you and your patients when you're a nurse that's been called. Even I remember I would be working, normally we work 12 hours. So I would be off maybe, say 4 days. If I get my 4 days off in a row, by the end of the third, fourth day, I'm kind of craving getting back in there, getting back to, that environment, the monitors, the pumps, the camaraderie of the coworkers, the team, the whole team, the nurses, doctors, housekeepers, dietitians, pharmacists, the vendors that come. I mean, it's a huge, huge team that goes together and works together in taking care of a patient. I want to speak to nurses who may have questions, who may be struggling with, or who know new nurses who may need to align themselves. There's some things that you have to do to take care of yourself. There's some things that you have to do to get your life in line to being there in that capacity for a person every day. Family has to be on board. You know, if you have a family, they need to understand what you do as a nurse, what you need, you know, for sleep, for nutrition, for help, for peace, because you're going to need some peace going to work and coming home from work, right? But, you know, our family is, of course, ourselves first, and then our families, of course, are the most important. But nurses, you hold a lot of, when I say power, I don't mean it power like lording power, but there's a lot of, you hold the power of people's lives basically in your hands. I mean, doctors write orders. They know they have many more years of education than some nurses, you know, but the nurse is there executing those orders and those plans and kind of driving the speed and the cadence of that day, you know, that day of healing for that patient, that 12 hours, that 8 hours, whatever it is you're there to do. And you need to be able to have yourself set up to be successful. You have to be a priority. You have to make yourself a priority, and you have to let people around you know what that looks like and what you need. So that might mean that you might have to take a little bit of time and, you know, spend some time in meditation or just sitting there thinking, you know, what do I need? What would make my day better? How can I show up better for my patients every day, you know, from start to finish? And communicate that to the people that are in your life, your family, your friends, so that they can help you with that. Let them know that, you know, I need to be my best. It's not just a body that I'm taking care of in a bed. That body belongs to a soul, that belongs to a life that is interconnected to many other lives, and then all of our lives as a whole, right? So it's a huge, huge job. It's a huge call. It's a huge responsibility. So in this next, I guess we would say, series of episodes, I'm going to be speaking to the different parts of nursing, whether it be physically, emotionally, financially, and maybe debunking some of the untrue thoughts of what it is to be a nurse, what nurses really do, what nurses really make. You know, there's some places that nurses are underpaid, and that's a lot of the country. But there are some places where you can really make a good living, and that has been because nurses have band together over the years in union to marginalize pay rates, benefits, ratios, and that's something that we need to continue to do because there's still a lot of fellow nurses that are struggling. I'm living in California right now. I started out in New York. I would say New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, California are probably the 4 highest paid states for nursing. And I've always been blessed to be in that arena, in those states, minus maybe a couple of times that I went off and I worked in Florida. I worked in Miami for a few years. I actually did even like a 3 or 4 month stint in the South, in South Carolina, when I was doing 2 jobs at a time when I was putting my daughter through private school. So I did a lot of different things, and but mostly I've worked where the nurses were paid well, and I've always been a unionized nurse. You don't always have to. I'm not saying that you have to, but I'm saying that sometimes there are, with healthcare being what it is, and things are getting a little more complicated. Insurances are mandating certain payments, certain regulations of what they will treat, what they will pay you for. And when I say you, I mean the hospitals and healthcare facilities, whether it be an agency or clinic. And that all rolls around to you at the end of the day. It boils down and it trickles down to you and what you will get paid. And what your life will look like if you're planning to do nursing for any period of time. Because even if you don't do it like I did for 30 plus years, if you do it for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, you want to do it and you want to get the most out of it. You want to give the most and you want to get the most out of it, because it is an all-encompassing profession. So that will be the end, tying up everything for what we're looking forward to as we move on. I'm going to try to mix it up a little bit and give you like heads up of when we'll be doing things that are more technical, even help you out with maybe breaking some things down like ABGs, because a lot of people, I struggled with that when I first came out of nursing, lab work, how to organize your day, flow sheets, your report sheets, how you take report, how you give report. So I'll be offering, a package that kind of pulls all that stuff together in the form of a course, a pretty simple course, but also share with you some stories that will help you connect with someone else who knows what it's like, to feel the greatest joy and the greatest pain in one single day. Also, while your feet hurt and your back hurt and you have to potty and maybe you haven't eaten and all the things. But it's worth it. It's so worth it. And I just want to share what I've grown and received over the years. And I hope that I'll be able to pour it into you as you eat off my plate in this time of it's your time. Remember, deciding and making yourself that priority. It's your time. No one will do it for you. You're going to have to do it for yourself. And if you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, because nurses reach people all over the world, and it's my goal to help as many people as possible as a collective in humanity. All right, blessings.